an update on New Year's objectives, and our favorite purchases from 2021. This is Mac Voices. Today's Mac Voices is supported by Mac Voices After Dark. Uncensored, off-topic, and always off the wall. Mac Voices After Dark is available as a benefit to our Patreon subscribers. Sign up at patreon.com/MacVoices. Welcome to Mac Voices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, it's Tuesday night. It's 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That means this is Mac Voices Live. We are live on YouTube at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. We have people slowly gathering in the chat room. We'd love to have you come and join us this week or next week or any Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, because you'll find us here trying to get our folks in line and give you some information and a little bit of entertainment. Or is that entertainment and a little bit of information? I'm not sure which, but whatever. We do what we do. So let's go around the room, find out who's here, and then we'll figure out what we're doing. First up, Mr. David Ginsburg has joined us. David, good to have you.
Good to be here. Another great week of lively conversation. Some good topics, and yeah, just glad to be here.
Great.
Are you assuming too much?
No, we always have lively conversation.
Dave is a positive thinker.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll always look for the positive. Speaking of positive, Mr. Jim Ray is here. Jim, good to have you.
Yippee!
Okay, good. There's positive.
Have you been watching Phantom Menace? What?
What's yippee?
That's what I want to know.
How's that?
I said I was Mr. Positive, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't want to, make a liar out of him.
I appreciate that. Brittany Smith is here, bringing up Star Wars right off the bat. Brittany, good to see you.
It just gave me flashbacks, so
Why?
Thanks for having me, Chuck.
I don't
Not
remember
the Phantom Menace,
Yippee. I don't remember Yippee in the Phantom Menace.
It's an
Thank your brain.
line.
Yeah, because never, that's always what you want to hear from Darth Vader. It's Yippee.
Moving on, because I'm completely lost already, and we're not 5 minutes into the show. Jeff Gamet is here. Jeff, welcome. Great to have you as always.
Yippee!
Now I'm doubly lost.
Chuck, seriously, I am happy to be here. It's so great to get to hang out with all of you. I look forward to my Tuesday evenings.
Yeah, I think we all do, Jeff. I think we all do. Just for some comic relief, if nothing else.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. Last but not least, Mr. Warren Sklar has joined us after another period of exile. Warren, I'm glad to have you back. Glad you're still in one piece.
No, I'm still here. I forgot what Jeff looked like, so that bothered me. So here I am.
Yeah, I get that. And I was starting to forget what you look like, Warren. Luckily, I had a screenshot from a previous Mac Voices Live, and so I would just look at that every now and then.
Yeah, I didn't have one, and and sleeping's been tough. I'll be honest with you.
I get it. I really get it.
Miss you, my friend.
Okay. I definitely also want to.
I'm glad you're not dead.
Yeah, I want to say hello to everybody in the.
And I say that with love.
Wow. I want to say hello to everybody in the chat room, the ones that are there, the ones that are participating in the chat, and also the ones that are just hanging out lurking. Say something, folks. It's always good to see you, and we love your input. Wanted to start off the show tonight just with a little bit of follow-up. Last time we got together, we talked about some New Year's resolutions that weren't necessarily resolutions and New Year's objectives. And I wanted to report that I have been holding my end of the bargain up. Every day I have unsubscribed or deleted at least 10, maybe not spam emails, but those emails that you end up on the list and you just too often you just delete and never bother to unsubscribe. And I have to tell you, it has made a difference. I don't think I realized how many of these companies or entities sent me daily emails. And so as a result, I was having to clean them out every day. And sometimes it takes 2 or 3 days, but, pretty soon you start seeing a big difference. So if you didn't follow my lead, follow it now and start unsubscribing to things.
It's what I did on the way home from driving my son to Boston, or driving home from Boston. My wife drove, and I did exactly what you did on the way home. Do you have a program called Unroll Me? Anybody?
No.
I used to use that. I heard that there was a privacy concern, so I stopped using it.
I've been using it for years and years, no issues. But anyhow, it's the privacy issue is it hooks into your email accounts, and that's how it works. So, but what it does is basically hook into your email accounts, and it tries to keep or unsubscribe you from spam, and it goes in there and does a pretty good job. So it's free, and yep, that's a link. And it's not it's not a perfect science with that, because what it does is unsubscribe you based on the email address, right? So a lot of spam, you'll start to see how it actually comes in, and it'll be the same domain name, but the junk in the beginning changes every time they send it out. So you'll it's not perfect, but it works.
Yeah, maybe they did some improvements, because years ago they weren't as transparent with what they're collecting. I see on their site now, they are telling you, okay, here's how we keep your data safe and how we're looking. So I was always a little concerned about that.
It obviously has to log into your email and parse it, but that's the issue. So
yeah,
if you're okay with that, then go nuts.
I'm not familiar with this one at all. I'll have to look into it. You say it's free?
It's free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then how are they making the money? We got to ask that question. Do we know?
I mean, there's a whole bunch of type programs out there on the App Store that do it for free too. I don't know. The goodness of their hearts.
So we have to wonder how all of them make their money.
So,
the money, the easy money that I could see in something like an Enroll Me would be to sell validation information back to people or companies that are buying email lists.
They send you.
So then they could have a way to filter out emails that are less likely to be valid targets.
They have your email address. I'm kind of assume that their whole purpose is to get rid of spam and newsletters. It would be ironic if they sold your information and do exactly that. But they send you an email here every day. You could get an email to roll up, and basically the roll up is kind of like it tries to group together things you keep. It's like a kind of a report of what they did. So next time I get it, I'll see if there's any ads in that link that they send you or in the email. I don't know, but that's the only thing I can think of, unless they're doing something nefarious.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I went through, and I know that there's some things in there that came from, getting on press lists or, different legitimate ways that I got subscribed. And so as a result, I didn't want to use what for me would be the nuclear option, and that is because I subscribe to SaneBox, and I can put it in their sane black hole, and I know then it'll just absolutely, I will never see an email again. The trouble with that is, though, that sometimes I might want to see an email again, especially if I have forgotten, what I put in the same black hole. So that's kind of that issue. But there's something also, honestly, it's a little bit time consuming. There's something a little bit satisfying about, unsubscribing and actually seeing the results yourself. Sean in the chat room says inbox zero is still a useful thing, especially today. I agree 100%, Sean, but at the same time, it's difficult to achieve. And, sometimes that's not a direction we choose to go. I don't want to feel the pressure of inbox zero because I don't want to feel like I'm failing, because there's no way that that's going to happen.
I just looked it up, and Unroll Me is owned by Nielsen. So
That's a TV ratings company, right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
but their ratings go beyond just television now.
No, they
So-
do.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course.
All kinds of stuff now.
So yeah,
But,
this
you
kind
know-
of makes sense. It probably feeds in nicely to the way they're aggregating information.
Yeah, they have a page about how they use it.
I mean, technically, if they have a list of what everybody's trying to keep and not keep, they have interest at that point. So if I'm unsubscribing from Tesla's at this point, the newsletter I get from Tesla, and keeping Ford email, then they may know that they have info that I
Well,
sold to Tesla.
And in fact, it says that they're collecting all your purchase receipts, all your travel reservations, shipping confirmations, and presumably they're not selling that on an individual basis. But
that's really interesting. So they could anonymize that and get an idea, sort of like they anonymize, at least in theory, the TV shows you watch.
I think I'd rather unsubscribe myself than having the Nielsen company be able to read every email that I receive.
Yeah.
Most of which is
I did stop using it, so I was concerned a little bit.
well,
Yeah.
it's been years. So let me know what I should be looking for.
Oh, it sounds like, and we don't want to trash them because we are speaking a little bit out of ignorance here, but
No,
how about just out of caution, take a good hard look at it. And if Unenrolled Me suits you, that's great. If you are comfortable giving them access to your email, great. I want to make sure that I welcome Kelly Guimont in. Kelly has joined us. Welcome. Good to see you, Kelly.
Hey, it's really nice to be here.
Hey,
I never know which direction your hair is going to go.
No one does.
It's
that.
all
going to go
directions.
Kelly. That's the
directions.
direction it goes.
I mean, yeah, it's not like I know or have any input into.
This is
That
not a
whole
controllable
process.
situation.
No, Brittany and I have already let go and let hair. That's
Right. Exactly. Like
what
you
you-
can put it up or let it be down, but you don't get to choose what it does in each one of those forms.
no, you do not.
When you two are on, it definitely increases the entropy of the show.
So
That's
many
one of
reasons.
The sweetest things I have ever heard.
That's so nice.
Kelly, you're wearing your flannel shirt.
I am. The
And I
lumberjack
didn't
has entered the
realize that
chat.
it was Portland and Boulder formal night. And so I took mine off shortly before the show.
Yeah,
But what
Yeah.
about the pants?
but we don't
Pants.
talk about the pants here.
Well, I mean, if you take the shirt, if you have the flannel shirt on and no pants, I think that's the look you're going for.
That's a look I often go for.
That's just sort of Jeff's look. I don't.
Now that's a Portland I remember when I went there. But that guy
Sounds
got
about
arrested.
right.
That guy got arrested shortly after I screamed. So
So you're the buzzkill. Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Interestingly, if it was a public statement, then that wouldn't have happened because nudity is considered free speech in Oregon.
That's true.
It's a part of speech. So if you're making a statement or something, then you're good.
Indeed.
You mean if you are making a speech naked, you're making a statement, or if you're just standing there, you're making a statement?
It
what's-
depends. If it's
un-
part of your free speech.
If you are
like,
undressed to protest a thing,
Mhm.
and your method of drawing attention to the thing is to draw attention to yourself by way of not wearing any clothing, you can do that. There was a lady who was protesting by riding her bike undressed along the waterfront in downtown Portland, and there were police who were calling to report it because they wanted someone to check on her and make sure she wasn't cold, because it was like January and it was chilly outside. So they just want to make sure she was okay. That's Portland.
But it is the city of the naked bike ride. So,
Mhm.
oh, when I
but
lived
not in
we have-
January.
when I lived
We
in
have
London,
one too.
when I lived in
course-
London, family came over to visit. We were on the top of the bus, the double decker,
Mhm.
and literally 200, 300 naked bike riders through London, just going by. We had,
Yep.
it's a
Stuff like
thing.
That's a
Portland.
glorious thing.
I don't know
It's a beautiful thing.
why they were protesting something, maybe, but
They weren't protesting. It was maybe just the annual naked bike ride, which is what
Right.
we have here, which is not a protest. It's just, hey, look, it's naked bike ride.
Yeah, our naked bike ride is on Halloween,
Mm.
and you can't be naked for protest, but full topless is okay in Boulder. I mean, what it comes down to is Boulder really, really wants to be Portland, but Portland's Portland, and
You-
how are you
you
going
also
to
want a
match
really
that?
comfortable bike seat.
It's
They
crucial.
have those bike seats where they have the cutout in the middle.
Mm.
I don't know
Just
where I lost control.
What were you saying,
I was
Jim,
just going to
about
say,
Say,
this is the New Year's
to the bicycle.
resolutions.
Yeah,
Back to
yeah,
the
I'm going to try to get this back. The one other thing, since he's not here to defend himself, we'll pick on Guy. But
Yep.
Guy made a resolution that he was going to not switch mics all the time. This year. Did that last 12 hours before we saw on Facebook
Well,
that he had a new mic?
We can report that he did use a new mic on In Touch with iOS with myself and Jeff, and
And it
It
kind of
was-
sucked.
it was a train wreck.
Yeah. So Guy dropped his. How about anybody else? Any success or failure, declared failures with any of yours?
Resolutions?
Resolutions or just objectives?
If your objectives have failed by January 18th, then that's pretty sad.
Pretty standard, actually.
I mean,
was in
yeah.
there. I had COVID on New Year's, so I probably resolved not to have COVID again. See how it goes. It's been 2 weeks.
This edition of Mac Voices is supported by our Patreon subscribers and Mac Voices After Dark. Ever wonder what happens before the Mac Voices live shows? Or what happens when the show ends or after the live feed closes? That's where Mac Voices After Dark comes in. If you are a Patreon supporter at any level, you get access to the video of our off-camera conversations. Uncensored, unedited, and always off the wall. It's a small thank you to our Patreon supporters who want to peek behind the curtain. Become a Patreon subscriber at patreon.com/MacVoices. And thanks to everyone who supports the show.
I think that's an
I do.
excellent plan. Don't have COVID
Yeah.
again.
Twice is enough. We're good.
Definitely. Once is too many.
Yeah,
I mean, really.
twice is about 3 times too many.
I got a new job. I said I was going to resolve to get a new job. I start next week.
Hey.
That's
Can
good.
you
Awesome.
talk about it?
Remote. Sure.
Mhm.
It's remote. It's a remote from home and some office work too. It's an IT job. I do IT support, so I'll be supporting an office. It's basically not a trucking company, not a cargo company, not a machinery company, but somehow they're involved in getting large machines to companies. They do the logistics for it. So they gave examples like they did Apple, and they talked about going to the spaceship, the new one, not the spaceship, and they were involved in
Apple
getting
Park.
some of that. What is it called again?
Apple Park.
Apple Park. They were involved in getting some of the big air conditioning units that will go, in these places there. So they deal with kind of like getting with the shipping containers and things like that. So, anyways, it's I didn't know it exists. It's literally about 7 miles from here is the office I'd be supporting, and but it's basically remote and go there here and there.
Was your
So it
previous
sounds
job not remote?
My last job?
Yeah.
No, it was. I just told the story a few times, but the story is I took a job at a retirement community doing their IT support, and it did 3 or 4 communities, so I traveled between them. And I was hired as more as a hands on site, so I had for anything you couldn't do remotely, I would be there to do it. So then COVID hit, and my wife, who was supposed to be traveling all the time for work, and my son that was supposed to be in school and driving himself around. And so I took the job to keep myself busy while the house was empty. COVID hit, and they're stuck at home. They're, my wife's at home and my son's at home, and they called me up at the retirement after 3 weeks of the initial COVID, went through, and everybody was sidelined for a bit. They said, "You're essential. We need you to come back in." The residents need to communicate with their families, so we set up iPads, we set up FaceTime, we set up Skype for all these people, and so I was the only person going in to this place. So I was leaving the house, and everybody was here. So that was the irony of that. But I loved it. Was a great job, and I think I spoke about it, but basically mostly supporting the staff, but doing sessions with the residents, the elderly, and it was challenging because they don't understand technology. Everybody had iPhones or iPads. A few of them had, I would get people come up to me with a flip phone and say, "How do I get on Facebook on this thing?" It was crazy. It was all over the place. A lot of times they come out and they forget why they're even coming to you. But I love the job. Contract ended. Looked for a while, and I had a few offers that I took down, and then also didn't start because of I had COVID again. But next week should be good.
Congratulations.
Good. Congratulations. That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that should help with your resolution to not get COVID again.
If I don't leave the house,
Right.
or the basement, that would help. So I kind of am in the process of turning my son's basement, he's off to college, into my
Karaoke
labyrinth.
Wonderland.
Yeah, my work labyrinth. So I got like the dual monitors. I got
I'm in.
this is my
Right?
new toy. And I'm ready to go.
Good job. Good job. Well, the other thing I asked the panel to take a look at tonight was to tell us what their best or favorite piece of third-party hardware was that they got in the last year. And I asked them to do third-party hardware because it seemed like the M1 Max, the iPhone 13 were, obvious choices, and we could go down those holes and never come back. So I told them to put those on the shelf and figure out what some of the best hardware was they got from third parties last year. So who's up for the challenge? Because I think everybody went scrambling first to their Amazon lists and then started looking at everything else.
I'm happy to go first if you want.
Please.
Sure, dive in, Jeff.
Okay. So I'll turn this into a two-parter. All right. I can't pick the keyboard that I just got, which ties in to my resolution, which was to branch out from the keyboard that I'd been using for, I think, 15 years, probably longer. Actually, probably closer to 20 years, which is the Matthias Tactile Pro. And so I got a Keychron with blue switches.
I need to know everything about this keyboard.
Oh, well, then Kelly, we so have another excuse to waste too much time on the phone together.
Okay.
I will give you all the details. Anyhow, the plan was that I wanted to do something where I branched out from what I had been using for so long to see if there are other keyboards that would work well for me. And I'm loving the keyboard. So hooray for me for burning new neural pathways. Now, part two, the technology that I bought that's not Apple, that I'm really happy that I bought last year, took some narrowing down because just going through my Amazon list, I bought a lot of stuff. But the thing that really stands out is the iFi Hip-dac portable DAC.
Really?
Because yes. Now I'm using the Schitt Modi 3 at my desk all the time, and I love it because it just sounds awesome. But if I want something that I can plug headphones into that I can use with my Mac, my iPad, or my iPhone. The Schitt Modi 3 isn't going to do it. My Audioengine D3 I can use with my Mac or my iPad, but I need to plug it into a powered hub to use it with my iPhone. So that just wasn't cutting it for me. So I thought, let's try out the Hip-dac. And it turns out this is a really cool DAC. And I use it at my Mac if I want to listen to music in headphones, but I also use it with my iPhone and my iPad, and it's turned into this general use audio quality enhancement tool. And it turned out to be a surprise hit for me.
Jeff, you kind of stole my second place item, and that would have been the Schitt Modi 3, because I'm with you. That's something that I use probably. I'm not going to say every day, but the large part of the days in the week, and it just has made a huge difference to me enjoying music.
Well, Chuck, I am more than happy to wax poetic about the Schitt Modi 3 with you, because holy crap, what a wonderful, awesome DAC. And and the only reason it isn't my only DAC that I use all the time, I guess that's kind of redundant, is because it doesn't have a headphone jack. And sometimes there's enough ambient noise around where I live that I want headphones, but I still want my high quality audio.
Yeah, and you can add the headphones, if you want, just by adding a separate box to it. I mean, there is a way.
Right.
It's not like it's prohibitive, but I just found that since, as I've said so many times on the show, I live alone. The ambient noise has to come from outside, and so it's not like I have that many distractions. And if there are, I just turn up the volume, which is never a problem.
Which is a totally acceptable solution. Yeah. Oh man, Schitt Modi
neighbors.
3, I love it, and that's what's plugged into my Mac all the time. And a minute before I joined our call today, I was listening to music through my Audioengine A5s that was being pumped through the Schitt Modi 3.
Sounds like it. Okay, well that's that. I like the fact that you kind of picked two, but
I can get you one.
Oh, I can keep picking.
Oh,
I can fill a whole show just with my stuff.
Oh, yeah. David, you want to get in?
Yeah, well, first one is that I'm really falling in love with is this MX Master 3 Logitech mouse. I really am loving this thing. It's ergonomic. And I've got the Magic touchpad right next to me, and I keep them here anyway. And I tend to go to the mouse more, but it's just because of its ergonomics. It's really nice. But the other cool thing about it is it does have the software where you can, it's got 3 different mouse connections, so I can have 3 different computers connected to it, as well as I can have the software that lets me move over to the other screen on another computer at the same time. So it's been a really cool mouse. But Jeff also recommended early last year is when we were talking about the Audioengine, the D1. And I've been really loving that one too.
That's on my list too, but I had it long enough that it doesn't qualify as a 2021 purchase.
Oh no, I did buy this in 2021, so I could say that. So both those things have been, my mainstay sitting next to me every day on this computer. So, it's got great sound, and unfortunately, I do have these old Bose computer speakers. I forgot what they call them. That it's got the round knob. You can change it, but it's got some just interference issues. So it's kind of a bummer because it does have good sound. But and I had it plugged into the DAC, and unfortunately, I can't use it. But I got the headphones, and of course, that does have a headphone jack, so I can easily use headphones.
I love that Audioengine DAC, and it's actually just sitting right over there.
It's right there.
I mean, which I think what this says is that there are a lot of great DACs out there. Go get one. whichever one seems to suit you. Take a look at the features and figure out what suits you best.
Yeah. I'll make the purchase choice easy for everyone. I mean, now that we've turned this into what DAC should you buy for your Mac, got the Audioengine, because that's going to give you the most versatility for what you're buying, and it's a really good price because it has a headphone jacks, it has RCA, it does optical, and you
Pulled out just as a product. There you go.
There you go. Yeah, it's nice and small. It is a great product.
And when you say great price, what is that price point?
119, I think.
Yeah. I want to say it's about $120.
Okay.
So $120 with other device makers for the features that the Audioengine, it's the D2. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, it's not even available on Amazon anymore. That's not good.
They're probably just backstocked or backordered.
It just is currently unavailable. Yep.
Yeah, it's that popular. But anyhow, for the price you pay for everything you get and the versatility, I think it's absolute winner.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Webb in the chat room throws his favorite in, the Aftershokz, and the company has changed their name now to just Shokz, the OpenComm headset. And I know I saw a briefing on this from CES that this was, I guess, relatively new. We knew enough that they were promoting it, but it looked really, really nice. It looks like it's if memory serves, it has a little DSP boom mic to give better voice. Excuse me. And what I don't know, and Webb, maybe you can enlighten us a little bit, is how much bleed there is for the people that are around you. I mean, it's great for you because I have Aftershokz headphones and they're great. It just depends on how private you want conversations to be.
Sure.
And then that would be my first question about it.
Yeah.
So Webb says, I would not say Shokz are high fidelity, but I use them at work on both my telephone and my Mac, so I'm not tied to my desk. Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that in the question.
Yeah.
They're good. I have a pair of them. I like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're, for people who don't know, they're bone conduction. So it doesn't go in your ear or over your ear. Like it hangs on your ears, but then there's a little piece in front that sort of touches your face right along here. And like, that's where the sound comes in. It's not like in your ears or anything. And so it's kind of an odd sensation if you're not used to it. If you had an old Jawbone Bluetooth headset back in the day, it's that same kind of idea. So it's like that, but so it's weird at first, but then once you get used to it, it can be pretty great.
Unless you're stoned, then it'll kind of freak you out.
Speaking of which, I have a pair of those. So I sold them, but I had a pair of the Bose frames, which were also speakers. I don't know if you've seen them, but the same
sunglasses.
kind of ambient noise. But anyways, I had the Aftershokz, the sunglasses, and my AirPods Pro all in at the same time. My head exploded. I had to get a new head.
Yeah.
And that's how you got COVID.
Why?
Are those expensive? New heads?
Not as much as the AirPods Pro.
The panel's back in the next edition of MacVoices to continue our discussion of some of our favorite purchases of 2021 and why we made them. And believe me, they are very, very varied. So, until the next time, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.